Hello. So we have already made an API which returns me list of objects. So now we will try to level up and write an API that actually takes some additional arguments as an input, and based on those arguments our response will change. So if we look at here, whenever we hit hello API, it will always return me the same output. But now we will try to have an argument in our API so that we can vary our outputs. So we will try to take the name of the person, and based on the name we will try to find whether that object exists, and we will return the object from this particular list after filtering out. So at first let's try to write the business logic in the service class. So we will name our we will be returning person actually, and let's just name it get. So we will take a name as an input, and we have to find whether this name exists in the objects of our list. So we will take the list, we'll need to convert it into stream, then filter it out, and now we'll filter out for every person. We will find the name and we will match it with the name that we have got in the argument. Once we filter it out, we will find it will return us a list. Actually, this particular filter API, I think it should return a list, I guess. Now let me okay, it returns a stream. Interesting. So we will find the first of those objects that we have returned. It may return multiple objects, so we will find the first one which we get. So and we will just get it. So that's our business logic. So once you give me any name, this particular method will filter out from this list and will return you the correct object. So now when we have to write return. Yeah. So now when we have the business logic in place, let's just write our API. So we will return person, and our API or our method, I'm naming it as get. Let's just do some trimming here as well. We have named our method here API as get, and we'll write method as well as get, and here we will take name. Oh, come on. And we will return people service dot get, and we will pass name here. So as simple as that. But there are a few additional things we'll need to do. The first is the basic requirement of an API. We have to have a request mapping. So we will have request mapping, and we will use the same path as get, but to take an additional argument from the requester, we will need to extend this path. So we will write some additional things here. Okay, why is it an error? Okay, I haven't done annotation. So we will write some additional things here. Now one thing to understand is, in case of this particular API, this is always constant. User has to hit get. If he hits any other word, any other letter apart from these, it will error out. But here this name will be a variable, so user can pass anything. So this will be a distinctive difference between this particular get API and the argument that will be taking, and this variable always needs to be inside curly braces. So when we enclose it within these, it it's considered as a variable, and let's just mark it as name for simplicity, since our variable name is name as well. And one more thing that we need to do is Spring still doesn't know that this particular argument or the value in this argument needs to be fed into this particular variable in Java. So for that, Spring also provides one more annotation which makes our lives very easy, and that is path variable. And the path variable behind any variable just matches the arguments from its variables. So this should be it, and our application should run successfully. So we have already started. So now hello won't work. Let me just show you. Okay, it's still working. Interesting. Okay, no, it's not working. So it's 404 not found. So now the same functionality we have passed on to get. So here get will give you all the objects. Now we want a specific object, so here we will write slash, and here we won't be using curly braces. Curly braces is only for the syntax of writing API. Here as a requester we will just give the name Hulk. So when we run it, it will give me the object Hulk, and our business logic does everything. And let's try to do something ABC, and this gives internal server error, so probably our code has errored out. Yes, we have an exception here, so our exception should be in the line where we were filtering. Yeah, we have an exception here, so we have not handled the edge case of a wrong input, but at least it runs successfully when the user actually gives me the correct name. So I'm able to find which object has this name and will be able to return it. So that's it. Okay, one more thing which I should tell you in this video itself is here we have actually used the same name as the variable name we have. Now what if we want to use a different name? Let's name it as person name. So now this particular code, I think it should fail, because Spring Boot automatically won't be able to map this particular person name with name, or maybe it may even map. Let me just see. Okay, yes, it threw 500 error. Let me see what's the okay, it says missing URI template name. So we have our variable name as name, and that we have annotated with path variable. So it wants this argument to be name only. Now what if we want to have a different name? So there is a solution for that as well, and here we have an argument in the path variable annotation, that is the argument of this. That's it. So now Spring Boot will be able to identify that the argument which we have given ID as person name needs to be caught into this particular path variable that will get into this particular variable. So let's try to run it again, and now our code should work. So let me again send the request. Yeah, now we are able to see the object. So remember, so ideally you should not have any issues. Just name the same name as your variable name, or if you want something fancy, you can use this workaround. It's not actually a workaround, it's actually the right process. So that's it.